Okay, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Going to go back to the old days and start making product videos again. Not just for what we're selling, which is obviously this is for that reason, but also to show you educational side of things as well. So we've listed axles for YJs for years, both ways, and we usually find people you can interchange these axles from 87 to 95. These are both same year. They'll bolt in the exact same way thing. But there are some subtle differences, and what we found is that people like to know those subtle differences, and then they can make the decision. And oftentimes trying to describe this on the phone, it just gets super confusing and stuff. So these videos kind of help you out, and in turn help us out, also help my employees out and whatnot. So Dana 35s are for a YJ specifically, okay, 1987 to 1995. The 1987 to 1989 versus a 1990 to 1995 are different, but again, they will interchange, they will bolt right in. If you do that, let's say you put an 87 in a 95 or vice versa, you need to make sure you get brake parts for them. And then there are some other changes that will not swap. So if you ever have an issue, you need to remember what axle year you have. Okay. So first and foremost, just visually, you're going to see the tubes look the same. And this one's got a mount they reinforced on it. That they look normally like that one there. And the shock points and your leaf spring purchase are all identical. Immediately you're going to notice the drum size. And the older ones, 87, 89, the guy on the left, that's going to use a larger drum, in turn larger shoes and whatnot. It's completely up for debate, and I don't know, honestly. I mean, obviously bigger drums, bigger shoes, in turn, you would theory these would stop better, and that's probably the case. So somebody looking for better brakes but sticking with drums, that might be appealing to you. Otherwise, they're such light vehicles, and I've driven both. I've never really been able to tell the difference on that side of things. The other major difference between these, and this again might be a deciding factor depending on where your stance is with this, the older Wrangler YJ Dana 35s, 87, 89, are non-C-clip. And that means on the inside of these axle shafts, where they hold inside of the carrier, like this one, where if you were to pull this axle shaft out, take the axle apart and take it apart, there's literally it looks like a C, and it just slides in the end of a channel. I wish I had an axle shaft I could show you. I can do another video later on that. These are just fully splined. This one's got a groove in it for a C-clip. So those parts will not interchange on the two, and therefore the carriers and everything like that is the same thing. So internally wise, you cannot swap parts around very easily on these. So that means that the bearings, the way these bolt on, the way these axle shafts go in, they're held on the outside. This one is held on the inside. And so you'll hear guys often say, you know, if a C-clip ever falls out, which would be really hard to do, but let's say you were to break it off, the nose of that spline breaks, then in theory this axle would walk itself right out. And yes, it has happened. I've seen it before, so can't say it's impossible. It does happen. The same thing goes for this. If the bearing on the outside were to go, then it being that's what holds it in, that would do the same thing. So anyway, that's a layman's terms. I'm sure somebody out there that's an engineer or some fancy pants can give a much better version of that, and I'm all for it. So please feel free to comment down below and explain that better. By all means, we're all here to help each other out. At least that's what we're here for, and also sell our products. So we painted this one. You can see this one's dirty, but we'd take a hot seat to these, get all the grime off of them, and then they get painted before they leave. Basically it's a rust inhibitor. And you know, our axles are clean. I mean, this doesn't have any rot or rust on it. It's got a little surface, but nothing scaling on it, so it paints real easy. And if you don't want that done because you're going to blast it or something, it's more work for you, that's no problem. We don't charge any extra for it, just something we like. Plus, the other reason we do it is for freight. If it's really easy to see a marked axle, if let's say, you know, they were to damage it, which hasn't happened, but if it did, it's really easy to see fresh paint off versus something like that. It'd be up for the debate if you could prove, oh, this looks recent or not, you know. So anyway, 303-666-9020. And obviously we have a ton of these. This isn't even half of them. We're slowly getting our racks up from when we moved 4 years ago. So our yard is coming together, but slowly but surely. It's a little windy out here, so apologize about that. And then 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. That's our website. You can view those axles up on it and others like it, and any other part. Hopefully, not everything is listed. We do list daily. So we got a ton of stuff. 7 acres, rust-free Jeep parts. Thanks a lot.